Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morganroth, Motor City Madmouth. What a great pun and fun that we had a little bit earlier. We talked about Troy Weaver fan heckling, and we have a great show tonight. JB Ellis will be reporting from Madison Square Garden out in New York at the Big East tournament. We'll wait for him to come in. But meanwhile, I want to introduce the crew that we have. George Eichhorn back for a doubleheader. George.
Yeah, good to be on tonight. Looking forward to the show, Scott.
And Mr. Pundit himself, Jacob Christner's got enough voice to go ahead and
I do. With us. Good. How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing all right. Long time no see. A few minutes. Okay, good stuff. And Travis has become our most valuable player. The way he moves around from inside the pigskin over to the Sports Exchange. We could have used him last night, but he comes on here when we need him to pinch hit. And glad to have him back. I don't know if I like to see an F shirt, but otherwise, I like the man himself.
Oh, sorry. UCF shirt. My apologies. Yes.
No apologies. Nothing.
I thought you were trying to rub yourself for some reason.
I mean, yes, I was trying to rub it off, and hopefully no one saw it. Yeah, sorry.
All right. So, anyways, we're gonna have a stacked show. We're going to be talking a lot of football, but for Joshua Burstein, who requested a hockey topic, we've got one for you. So stay in there a little bit, Joshua. We got a hockey topic, but I can't mention it right now. Well, we will be talking NFL football. I want everybody to know that Pundit's Pundit is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of Pundit's Pundit can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube South Florida Tribune. We're striving for more subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. I've had Joshua on before. He's welcome to come back anytime you want. Participate in the chat room or send your topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, give me a call at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. I'll get to more company information in a little bit. Let's get to the first topic, one that will certainly make Travis Holmes feel pretty good, and he's going to get first word about it, okay? And we're going to be talking about a couple players connected to one particular team at one point or another, and that's Jags QBs. Gardner Minshew is off to the Raiders, of all places, and, of course, Mac Jones to Jacksonville. And Joshua, I hate to say this, great minds think alike. That is the topic, so hold on. We'll get to it shortly. We'll get to that. So, all right, let's talk about the QBs there.
I mean, Gardner Minshew had a rough situation where he was given a pretty rough Jacksonville Jaguars team back in, 2020 season? And no one no one could have survived that situation. And then you kind of saw what it looked like once Trevor Lawrence actually was given pretty much that similar sort of talent level surrounding him. Ended up struggling. Then you put Gardner Minshew in a reasonable situation in Indianapolis with an actual good offensive coordinator, and he looks like a quality quarterback. I won't say he's not a top 15 guy. He's not truly a Pro Bowl guy. I know he was the Pro Bowl alternate this past year, but yeah, nevertheless, he's an average to above average quarterback. And that's what he looked like when he was actually placed into a reasonable situation. So it's a great deal for him. You always strike when the money's hot. You get the money when it's available. Hey, I have nothing bad to say about Gardner Minshew. He's been placed in some pretty impossible situations, and he finally got into a great one. And he was able to kind of parlay that into a good role in Las Vegas. And then Mac Jones going to Jacksonville. I mean, that's if he wasn't a first round draft pick, it wouldn't be a story. And I know that's a rough thing to say, but at the end of the day, we all know it's kind of true. He's a struggling quarterback in the hopes that he's going to be learning a new offense and competing for that backup job with CJ Beathard in Jacksonville. And the hope is that he can capitalize on that. Jacksonville just last year tried to bring in Canadian sensation Nathan Rourke. Basically the MVP of the Canadian League, who's now also in New England, weirdly. They tried to bring him in just in 2022 season, and that didn't work out. He ended up not being able to capitalize and take the backup role from CJ Beathard. Now they're basically doing the same thing the next year, all for a 6th round draft pick. That's much. I mean, a lot of Jaguar fans are like all over the place about that, but that's not much ado about nothing. Hopefully he wins the backup role.
All right, let's go to the chat room. Okay, we have an active one here. We'll go ahead, Candy, top to bottom, put them up there. Everybody that's out there on YouTube can see them. There you go. So if I can't read them, everybody can see them. There we go. Bring them down there. 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by. There we go. Yeah, I'm sure you'll give us a lot of good topics. Okay, Josh, and I'm looking forward to getting you back on here. I love your energy, your wife and your kid, and your energy on these things. And Jesse Stuber, you the man, and the man, you always have an open invite anytime you want. All right, George Eichhorn, what's your take on the two quarterbacks, Minshew and Mac Jones?
Well, Minshew, yeah. I mean, his sixth round pick. He had a great start, though. I mean, I look back at Jacksonville 2019. I mean, a 60% completion rate, 3,200 yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Second year at Jacksonville, again, 9 games, and things were still pretty good for him. But the situation with Indianapolis was great. I loved it in Indianapolis. He was really good this past year. I mean, for what, like you said, Travis, I mean, for the set of circumstances he was dealt, 17 games, 62% completion rate, 3,300 yards and 15 touchdowns. But the fact of the matter is these guys are jumping around now. Teams are anxious to try something new at quarterback position, and so the Raiders got him now. Mac Jones going to Jacksonville. That's going to be interesting. I'm not entirely clear on that one yet, but it's going to be very interesting. A lot of movements, Scott. I mean, and Cousins, and there's so many movements among quarterbacks right now. But Minshew's a decent backup, yeah. I mean, but we'll see what happens. I mean, when he gives it his all, it seems like he's got a decent throwing arm, and I think the guy's very good. Maybe can be a starter full time. Maybe not. We don't know what Las Vegas is going to do. They might still draft a quarterback. We don't know, but they picked up a good guy. I like Minshew. I really do.
Okay, Jacob.
About Minshew, I'm going to say this, George. One thing about Minshew is he has taken every job and opportunity and everything whatsoever that would have been Mitchell Trubisky if he had a good time in Pittsburgh. He is the new world of the mid quarterback that can make plays, that can do well with a decent OC, do all that stuff. Now that Mitch is done, he's finding his one spot, sticking to it. He won't play again. I'm just saying, Minshew's that guy now. But as far as Mac, that beeping you hear, that's every OC's heart rate going crazy when they think of the idea of having to do Mac Jones. That is, I mean, Mac Jones versus C.J. Beathard is kind of like the early UFC fights between the guys that think that they invented martial arts and they fought each other. Had 900-0 record. That's what Mac Jones versus C.J. Beathard is going to look like. That's going to be horrible. So, but see, the thing is, I was saying from the minute Mac Jones got into New England in the first place, that Bill Belichick was leashing him for a reason. He's not that good, and the thing is, you're going to see it you're going to see why he did in the first place. It's not even from the bad year last year. You're going to see it now.
Okay, well, here's what I've got to say. Number one, I was covering the draft with the Jaguars when Minshew was drafted. First time I'd actually covered one with the Jags, and they were thrilled that they got him in the 6th round. I don't think they had Tom Brady written all over him, but a quality quarterback that was. Had some pretty good stats up at Washington State, I believe is where he played, and I think he played at Alabama for a while, and there was a lot of praise on him, and he didn't do that badly in Jacksonville. Meanwhile, and let's face it, the Raiders made a couple corresponding moves when they got rid of Brian Hoyer and Jimmy Garoppolo today, so Minshew's in there. So, maybe there's an opportunity for him to start. He had a good year out in Indianapolis, and let me just talk to you about a couple of corresponding moves. Joe Flacco to the Indy Colts here. It was a great move over there because now you'll have insurance for Anthony Richardson, and Flacco's deal will be worth up to $8.7 million, and anybody can figure out why Jameis Winston ended up with Cleveland Browns. To me, that's what you call. I need one of those. What do you call it? Crystal balls, but I can't figure that one out. Now, as for Mac Jones, this is a reclamation project for Doug Peterson. It really is. And if anybody can fix Mac Jones, it is Doug Peterson. Trevor Lawrence has had a lot of wear and tear on him. Okay. and you began to see it a little bit. So let's just say, you know, you get 2, 3, 4 good games out of them. If God forbid, you know, Lawrence gets hurt, then you've got a pickup there for what, next to nothing. So I believe the Jaguars know what they're doing. Okay, but these moves here all are there for a reason. I mean, you know, come on, you get a guy like Mac Jones for pennies on the dollar that Bill Belichick wrecked. Bill O'Brien couldn't fix. Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, that wasn't his fault that he had poor coaching. It really wasn't. Then he had Bailey Zappi breathing down. I think Jacksonville's going to make out much better than most people think on this whole thing. I really, really do. There's hope for Mac Jones, and Doug Peterson is the right answer for it. All right. Well, you know, go ahead, Jake.
Mac Jones versus Bailey Zappi is the ultimate Thursday night football spectacular. I'm telling you right now. I'm just waiting for that one.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that. I was hoping to cut you off, but because you were so polite, put the finger up, I had to let you in, or I'd look really bad. So I'm glad you put that in there. I'm sure those Amazon games are pretty interesting in their own right because of the fact that you never know what you're going to get with them anyways. Okay, with that said, we'll move on. JB Ellis will be coming on whenever. I don't care. But meanwhile, let's stay in the quarterback position. Russell Wilson is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers on a 1-year, $1.2 million deal. You know, if you want to convert it in normal terms, we'll just say at the dollar store. And Denver owes Wilson $38 million after terminating his contract. I'll lead off with this one here, okay? He's in good hands with Mike Tomlin. Sean Payton didn't like him. Mike Tomlin will be fine. He'll give him the Aaron Rodgers feel. Relax, okay? We're not going to get rid of you. Meanwhile, Mason Rudolph is a Tennessee Titan. Go figure. We're not talking about Rudolph. But, you know, let's face the reality. If you're in Pittsburgh and you can get people cheap, you can do it with the Steelers or the Pirates. And I don't have my Pittsburgh staff on tonight. But with that said, Mr. Opinion, okay, pundit, whatever, what do you think of Russell Wilson going to the Steelers at $1.2 million and the Denver Broncos eating a $38 million piece of dead cap here? Can you only imagine what happened if they played in the playoffs and Russell Wilson gets evil in them? We'll leave that for another time because I know you're loaded on this one anyway.
Well, Travis, you probably saw me on Twitter all week, and you probably saw the whole thing, and I was like, what did I say about I wanted my Bears to take advantage of that? Because I was the one that said $1.2 million. When you have a $68 million cap left, under the cap left, to where you could do something like that, get a lower draft pick where you don't have to pay the guarantee, so much of a guarantee, and you can go get real weapons like crazy.
Yeah.
The thing is, Pittsburgh's in that situation now. They can do that now. They can go do this thing. And it's like, but these are the things that you bring up when everybody's wanting to slobber all over the highlights, you know, and Pittsburgh's already slobbering over 5-year-old highlights of Russell Wilson when he was in Seattle. They're wanting to forget about Denver. You're not seeing any Denver highlights. There were none. But the big thing is, this is the thing. Denver, I'm just saying this now, excuse me. Kenny Pickett had 13 touchdowns, career touchdowns in 26 career starts. His backup had 8 in 8 starts, 5 less. You get my point? 5 less in 16 less starts. And it's like, and you want to know what Russell Wilson had last year? 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Through it all. This is the point I'm saying with this. There are people that are kind of playing the prisoner of the moment and say, oh, Mike Tomlin might have his first losing season. If he can win like that, if he can get 10 wins like that with those 2 quarterbacks and relying on Mason Wilson and Mason Rudolph to save him, he'll be fine. Trust me, he'll be fine.
All right. What do you think, Travis? Nodding your head. Where are you nodding your head to, Travis? I need to hear this one.
No, bingo, man. It's Death, Texas, and Mike Tomlin being 500. Like that's the thing. And if he can go 500 with small hands Pickett at quarterback, then he can absolutely go 500 with Russell Wilson. Like I don't think that's even arguable for most people. If you are just a normal NFL fan, watch the game. I'm saying you don't have to have any IQ at that point. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're going to do as far as that offensive line and trying to actually truly establish the running game that they truly want to establish. That's going to be the big piece. We'll see what happens there, because you don't want Russell Wilson trying to do what he did in Seattle, because Russell Wilson is not athletically the quarterback he was in Seattle, and he shouldn't have to be. That was always going to be a thing as far as how would he age. A lot like Brett Favre when he got older, like how he's not that guy who's going to run around all day and just extend the play and everything. Guess you're going to have to rein that in a little bit, and I'm sure Tomlin and I'm sure they will. Do that when you start getting into the playbook. But nevertheless, yeah, they're going to have to invest in that O-line and try to truly establish the running game in the way that they want to, and they'll realistically be a 500 team, if not a 500 plus team, even in that difficult conference.
Well, in the eyes of the late Bob Barker on The Price is Right, the price was right for Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. Okay, that's all there is to it. $1.2 million at least this year. If he stays next year, it's another story, but we'll see. I think that for Pittsburgh, this is an everything to gain, nothing to lose situation. And Denver had enough. They didn't want him anyway, so I'll be curious to see what the Broncos do with the quarterback situation. But with that said, I'll turn it over to George Eichhorn.
Well, I've been a supporter for many years of Russell Wilson. I like the guy. I know that he's had some really tough years the last few. Of course, we all know that. Denver obviously was not a good fit, despite that heavy trade material and the large salary they had to pay for Wilson. But I think this is a good move. I think it's a good move by the Steelers. I think that he's got a lot still left in him. And all due respect, 500 is not going to cut it, but I know what you're saying about that. But there's got to be some optimism, a little bit more optimism, I should say, with the Steelers team right now after they acquired him, and for pennies on the dollar, literally, like you said, Scott. I mean, they got a good deal getting him, signing him, and also the fact is, yeah, he's not as mobile as he used to be, but he still did have 26 touchdowns last year, 26 passes, and 8 interceptions, but he just couldn't get it done in Denver. So the situation is different now. New environment in Pittsburgh. Tomlinson is going to obviously help him out, I think, as a quarterback. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do along with Pickett there in the Steelers offense.
All right, JB Ellis will be on in a few moments, so this will be a perfect opportunity to let everybody know that our website's www.southfloridatribune.com, Twitter /X@TribuneSouth. Candy Ebling is behind the scenes producing the show. And I have a book out there called Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. You see it on your screen, okay? Old school media versus new school media. It is available on Kindle and Amazon and now Barnes & Noble. And we're looking to add more and more places to put the book. So it gives me an opportunity to talk about this book here where there are a lot of people I didn't meet, but I felt like I did. It's a book that you can talk about relationships that I've met over the years, and whether they're out there going, whether you meet these people or not, you feel like you know them in a different way, indirect versus direct. And Josh, we are going to be working on the audible version soon. Right now, we're just trying to get a lot of our ducks in order early on, but that is something that's in the works. In fact, my brother-in-law, Steve Ebling, is going to be doing it for us. So hang in there, Joshua, and hopefully you'll have an app. It's still available online as well, but it dives back into 44 years in this business, and I will be doing a second version of it probably, hopefully later in the year as well. So, again, somebody asked me a question, what's in it for me? You know what I told them? You have an opportunity to learn about the most complex industry on the planet. As Marshall McLuhan would say, the medium is a message. That's the thing that we learned early in school, right, George, about Marshall McLuhan? And whether you're in new school media, old school media, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get it, whether it's the internet, local TV, cable TV. And thanks a lot for the kind words. Chance to learn from a living legend. Joshua, you're all too kind. And again, I still got to get you back on here, Joshua. You keep trying to find a way. I'll bring my buddies on. We're going to get you on here anyways. So again, if Joshua wants to come on, he's got an open invitation. But no, this was an opportunity for me to spend 5 months on it. And, again, I had to leave out a lot of stuff to accommodate when you put a book like this together about making the pieces go ahead and fit. But again, old school media, it's changed a lot. Somebody asked me, what if I have a lot of the young guys that wouldn't care about old school media? Well, guess what? They don't have to read the first part, but they're going to read the second part, right? It's not like we have one book on old school and this one. It's all combined. So 206 pages worth of information. George Eichhorn wrote the foreword. We're waiting on JB Ellis. Anybody have any thoughts really quickly before JB gets on here about the first two topics? We got the Jags and Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Anybody?
No, I got everything. I got everything I wanted to say on that.
All right, well, let me just go ahead and let everybody know that JB Ellis is currently covering the Big East tournament out at Madison Square Garden. I've never been to Madison Square Garden, been outside of it. Would like to get there one day. And JB Ellis in recent weeks has really understood the written part of journalism. It's something that he embraces now. Before he was more into the audio and the visual, and I think that part of the journalist growth. And Jacob is learning how to embrace it as well as, and Denzel Snipes actually majored in journalism, so he understands it really well. But the thing you have to be able to do in this industry is you have to be able to write the words before you can speak it. And I think that that's the advice I can get to anybody out there, that if you want to be a journalist, you have to be able to write well. And when I was able to get that first book done, it won't take me long to get that second one because you've been there, you've done that. I've self-published a book. So the South Florida Tribune is technically a publishing company, and I'm working on a lot of other projects as well. So, I think that, and I'll tell you, I'm proud to say that everybody on this show is in the book. Travis Holmes is in the book. Okay. Why is Travis Holmes in the book? I met the man over at a Jacksonville Jaguars game, gravitated to this guy's energy and enthusiasm. We became good friends, wanted an opportunity. And Travis could have fell off, but all he did was just stick around because he has unbelievable journalistic qualities. And now in recent weeks, Travis has found himself juggling between the Sports Exchange as well as inside the pigskin. So with that said, do we have JB Ellis? Yes, we do. All right. Well, JB Ellis is live from Madison Square Garden. Welcome to the show, JB.
What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're doing
man,
good.
I love your from MSG.
Man, this is a big time. He's in the most famous arena out there. What do you got, Mr. Ellis?
Good day so far. A couple of good games. Xavier against Butler was a great game. Came down to the end. Second game, the Providence-Georgetown game, was a bit of a blowout, but Georgetown hung tough all the way to the end. They were down 10 with like 3 minutes to go. Just had some empty possessions and horrible free throw shooting. But the effort was there. They're going to be a better team next year. I can see it already. I got DePaul against Villanova right now. This is a game I'm very interested in. As we all know, I'm a St. John's fan. So right now I'm rooting hard for DePaul, even though you're not supposed to be rooting in the press area. Subconsciously I'm rooting for DePaul. It's only 10-6 at about the 12-minute mark. So DePaul's hanging tough here. I'm not sure what's happening with this game. I just got up from the press conferences. I got to say the Big East does a heck of a job with their program. The commissioners and the PR people, top notch. I mean, I've got 3 Super Bowls. I would say that their PR people are just as good from what I'm seeing,
Well, JB, it's funny how you say you're not around to root in the press box. You know how many times that George Eichhorn and I have heard that? We really have. But I'll give you a piece of advice, JB. Okay, although you have a lot of teams there, you can always cheer quietly, because if the team that you have wins does well, we're in a much better mood. But you know what, JB?
Oh yeah.
This is only your second rodeo after the first one with DePaul and St. John's. Okay, this guy here, I was telling the audience before he came on that you're learning quick, and now we're trying to get you some game ethics here, is what we're doing, Mr. Ellis. So now I have a question for you, okay?
What's up?
You had a chance to get one question in with Rick Pitino. You're going to try to get Pitino again later in the tournament, and do you think you can get 2?
So definitely, without a doubt. So I just got up for the press conference. I got a question in with the Big East Player of the Year, Evan Carter and Devin Carter. Georgetown head coach Ed Cooley. And then, of course, I went over to the Georgetown locker room because they do open locker rooms still for the Big East tournament. And I just spoke with Wade Bristol Jr. about the effort that the Hoyas put out tonight. So, that's why it took me so long to get up here. I was doing a little bit of work, getting some sound bites for us so we can get them up on the website. I got the first article from the first game written while I was waiting for the second game. Now we're on the last game. I got to write an article, and I'm here. You guys are delaying progress.
Yeah, it really breaks my heart. By the way, I got to tell you in the chat room, Joshua Bernstein puts JB, and considering that my eyes are so bad, I'm going to guesstimate that he has 6 or 7 exclamation points, although I don't know if this is an eye test, okay? And if it is, I'm probably going to fail it anyways. But here's the thing, JB, okay? Now the man has his computer there, okay? The man has his computer. We put him on the spot.
Show you the view.
Yeah,
this is not on TV.
Oh, he's up there. See, I told you, there are no floor seats down there for a guy like him. We talked about this on Fun and Fun. Nobody's sitting on the floor anymore. And by the way, on Saturday, I had the opportunity to talk to, we had Penny Hardaway and Dusty May. So let me tell you, one thing about these coaches in college, they're pretty candid is what they are. But JB Ellis and I were going to consider doing a show, The Celebrity and the Journalist, okay? Maybe one of these days we'll get a chance to do it. I don't know. But I can guarantee you one thing, okay? Now, once we stick this guy in the field a little bit more, I can tell you right now, that goatee may be there, but he won't be going to the celebrity part, realizing what a real journalist is. We had to break this guy in the cold play here, okay? So
it's the only
about this idea about the celebrity and the journalist. We're making JB Ellis learn the hard way. Wasn't that one of those little invitations that they had on Rocky? You got to learn the hard. I don't care about my stupid imitation. But Mr. Ellis, I'm telling you, now you're wearing the journalism hat, man. The journalism hat. How does it feel to wear the journalism hat? Do you still think you're a celebrity right now?
Of course.
No, you're not.
Of course. The players want to speak to me.
Yeah. Well,
but they're telling you, get out of the way.
Get the celebrity status, my brother, I don't think his ski hat is going to work, even though he's got JB Ellis on it. Now, a baseball hat you might get away with, okay? But a ski hat inside of a building, I don't know about that.
This isn't a ski hat. It's a baseball hat.
Oh, turn backwards. Okay. No
yes.
matter, I got his name. I might give him a little pass on that. So turn it around. Oh, that's right. You can't put JB Ellis on the front with that Motor City, man. Right.
Exactly.
So JB Ellis at the most famous arena at Madison Square Garden, and this guy is going to be getting a dirt. I'll tell you, I can't wait to get the feedback from JB Ellis, okay, when he reads the rest of my book, and instead of Paul Harvey saying, let's hear the rest of the story, I'm waiting for JB Ellis to read the rest of the book and see how much he learns there.
So real quick, it's 10-9 Villanova. So Paul's got the ball after the TV timeout. They just started back up. So good game going here. I wasn't expecting this.
Well, you weren't. Well, how many games have you been to where you actually have to work where you wouldn't expect? I can tell you how many games I've been to where I didn't expect a lot of stuff, and all of a sudden, right when you've seen everything, you haven't seen everything. So we're just breaking. This guy's just popping his cherry out there, learning how to do this. Should I be saying pop his cherry here? No, it's not the FCC. I can get away with it. Right, JB? So
exactly.
10-9, okay, early in the game. Oh, and I'm excited that you're going to the Big East tournament, that you're there, because it shows that you've come a long way in a short period of time, and that's what this is all about. Yeah, there you go. You got Joshua Bernstein. Put it up there, Candy. There you go, JB. Look at this. You're out here on camera. Joshua Bernstein, to me, is one of the biggest fans there. Denzel Snipes involved. My guy, Joey Ellis. Oh, we got a Joey. Okay. And then Denzel Snipes. Man, JB, ain't all that. I don't know how all that.
He thinks he's just watching DePaul.
He thinks
he was watching
somebody told me at the Big East tournament. Well, you know what, Denzel? I guess tonight he really is, because he's there. What's going on, Snipes? Now we got this back and forth between Bernstein and Snipes. So right hand by Bernstein and another one by Snipes. So, hey, JB, where you at? I'm watching the game. All right, now he's up there. I don't know if you can see him from where he's at.
I'm way up top. I'm in the It's called the Chase Sky Bridge or something.
Oh, is it? Yeah, Chase.
Yeah, I gotta say they redid the garden pretty well. I mean, they have this little bridge thing. You actually go downstairs. It's all the way up. I'm higher than the jumbotron, but the view is perfect. It's like you can see everything. So it can't beat that.
Well, I'm sure you got a pretty good scoreboard if nosebleeds a little thing. And yeah, Joshua, you're the best. I'm watching the Motor City Madhouse. Yeah, sure. You're watching me on Facebook. I guess you can. They got you all eating good out there. Yeah, that's a good question. How are they doing with the press food out there?
So they did sandwiches and fries tonight, like seasoned fries, and they had like a candy bowl and some sodas.
Okay. So do you think that by the end of the tournament they're going to give you some bagels and cream cheese since you're in New York?
I don't think so. I don't think we're getting the bagels.
No, you don't.
For the
Well, I know
early
they do a lot
game,
of Coney
The
Islands
LA
and the Big
Bagels are
Apples,
going to
too.
be there. The U.S. Open for tennis.
The U.S.
there
Open.
you go. Flushing
Look at
Meadows.
this, man. Look at that JB Ellis leading the high life, and I mean high life. Okay, but you know what's been refreshing though, and I say this really, sincerely, JB, is Candy's been telling me that you've been writing these recaps all day, and I think that's good because you know what you're doing is you're learning good habits on how to write shorter stories and making sure that you have not only photos to go with it. And I know you got an iPhone 15, so it's got to be pretty good that the photos are pretty good quality. I got mine; that does all right. Once you got a full-fledged camera, I don't know what you got over there, but
I learned a long time ago. The people that credential you aren't going to credential you just to come and sit and take a seat. That's called buying a ticket. You got to do a little work while you're here.
Oh, is that right? Words of wisdom for JB Ellis, man. I'm telling you.
Listen, pay attention. I may teach you something.
Yeah, okay. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting. I'll tell you what. I always like to learn from JB Ellis. I got news for you. He may teach me something. Maybe there's a chance that Celebrity the Journalist might debut on a TV set or a YouTube channel near you. I don't know. Hey, I got news for you, JB. I don't have an ego bigger than Mount Everest, okay, that I can't learn from a pup like you. Okay, a pup like
Listen,
you. If you want to show me some about technical stuff and all that other stuff, then I'm definitely lost in space. No relation to Dr. Zachary Smith and Will Robinson and the rest of the people that are old enough to remember. But I can learn from everybody. I learn from people in the chat room. I learn from my crew. It don't make any difference.
the key to life, always be learning. Always be learning.
Always be
JB.
learning. Okay. Always be humble. All right, Jacob. I know you're not
Hey,
getting any
JB,
work.
are you going to be the new Giants GM compared to what's going on right now?
If they'd offered me the job, they would be in a much better position.
Hey, Daniel Jones,
Yeah.
Devin Singletary, Darius Slayton, Wandale Robinson, and Darren Waller. The guys, if we all chip in offense.
All right, but you know what, Jacob? Let me tell you this, and I haven't said this until in a while. Are you crazy? This man's talking basketball. We don't care about the New York Giants tonight. Want me to beat Stephen A. Smith? I'm going to tear Jacob Christner all the way to the Saturn and put a ring around his head. This guy's covering basketball, not football. All right?
Yeah.
Remember that, Christner.
Best time of year, college basketball tournament time.
And how do you let an 0-20 team in the conference? They shouldn't even be allowed to play in that game to fall.
Oh, it's pretty bad.
It's hard to question anything about college basketball. I've covered 4 games in the last 5 weeks, and I'll tell you, FAU could be a sleeper in this tournament as well. I don't think they're a sleeper to anybody anymore. But the games I've gone to, they're 3-1 in those games. The only loss was at my alma mater. But you're right. I mean, these conference tournaments are going hot and heavy. They'll have Selection Sunday, JB, I believe, on Sunday. Is that correct? So,
Well, Selection Sunday is Sunday, yeah.
right. So you have a lot of meaningful games there. And, I got news for you. The Big East tournament is one of the best tournaments, obviously, in college basketball. All you have to do is look at how many championships they've won, and then you'll be able to find out exactly what they've done. But, regardless, you're at Madison Square Garden. You've seen a lot of basketball today. And the only thing that I can compare to that is, since I have an opportunity that it'll be an endurance weekend for you, it will be one for me too, because I got news for you. Let's talk about endurance for a minute while the rest of my guys listen here. See, he got an endurance weekend covering that tournament, And me, I got one too up at Sebring here because you know what? You want to talk about media attention, JB? I don't know if you've heard it, but now you'll hear it. That you have 325 media members and there's only 200 seats and the overflow is at the track hotel. But I'm excited for this 12-hour endurance race. And I survived the Rolex 24 last year. So,
that should be a great experience.
Oh, this will be my third rodeo with this one. It took me 12 hours of Sebring to get ready for Rolex. And now I'm looking forward to getting back to another one. And I have some other business to take care of tomorrow before I can get to Sebring, which I'm not going to get over to on live air. But the reality of the situation, Jamie, I am so proud of how far you've come in a short period of time. And I was telling the guys that you're starting to embrace writing is what you're doing. And I think for a little while.
I don't like it.
And motivate. Let me finish, okay? I'm complimenting you. I think you can handle a compliment. So I'm not trying to build your ego, but don't give me that Gomer Pyle smile, although you don't have the Gomer Pyle smile because you got too much facial hair anyway. But the main thing, there you go. I got that in there too. Yeah, but the reality is this, okay, Joe? A lot of times when people are in the writing business, it's one thing to get going, but once you get in a role and you're in your own zone, that's when you know it comes a lot easier for you. And I've seen you enjoy it a lot more recently than it was in past conversations that we had.
Oh, for sure. I agree. I definitely do. Well, it's 1912 at the next TV timeout. I think it's starting to slip away because they're getting too many empty possessions. So not looking very good.
Oh, well, now Denzel Snipes here has a request, George. Oh, my goodness. I love this one. Can you get it up there? I got a request. Can Uncle George grow a beard by the end of the year? Laugh out loud. Do it. I don't think I've ever seen Eichhorn with any facial hair.
No, I could try it, but it's only if he pays me.
Yeah, I can only imagine if this wife would even let him in. He might put the paper on the thing. But Joe, so anything else you want to add to this thing here tonight? I'll tell you what a report that we have from Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena in the world here. Go ahead.
So the TV timeout, so I'll show you guys the court one more time. Got the DePaul cheer team out there. They got a t-shirt toss going on. Listen, the Big East tournament, the best college basketball tournament out there. John will go see the ACC tournament, and he'll say that's the best tournament out there. But we all know it's the Big East. Great conference, great teams. It's going to be a fun couple of days. Going to have to write a lot more stories, get a lot more interviews in there. But, you guys keep doing what you do, and I'll see you guys next week.
Well, you know what, Joe? You're off to a dynamite start. I am really proud of the progress, Joe, that you've made over the last couple of weeks. I really am. And we look forward to seeing a lot more of your writing on not only Sideline Sports, but also the South Florida Tribune. For those individuals that realize that Sideline Sports and South Florida Tribune are partners in this media operation, and our goal is to make sure that we develop people, and not only develop them, we want to see them flourish. And this is a product of the relationship that Joe and I have tried to build over the last couple of years. And now this guy's in an event where, of course, he's going to be biased toward the Big East tournament. He's a New Yorker. What do you expect, okay? But hey, listen, it is a great tournament. And I will say this before you get off, Joe. Keep in mind, this is the same venue that holds the NIT championship as well. So when you
it's actually in Indianapolis this year.
Well, okay, but in the past it has. And
yes.
Of course, they have the preseason NIT. I know it's in Indianapolis this year, but it has a great track record. Candy is putting your website up there, www.sidelinesportsnet.com, or she's got ours up there as well. So you have two websites for the price of one, and the mastermind behind it is the one that just put everything up there, Candy Eveling. So you talk about a mastermind putting these websites together, she's definitely it. So, Joe, we appreciate you checking in with us tonight. Have a great tournament, and we look forward to seeing you back in the fold with us next week. All right, Joe?
Thank you, guys. See you guys next week. Enjoy.
All right.
Enjoy
the job tonight, Joe. Appreciate you. Proud of you. All
Have a
right?
good time, JB.
Thanks.
Thanks,
yes. Bye-bye.
I know.
So that is JB Ellis reporting live from Madison Square Garden, home of the Big East tournament. A couple other subjects I want to get to. We know Joshua is out there waiting for his hockey thing. So, we're going to get to Joshua's request first, okay? We're going to talk about Atlanta sports. First of all, Kirk Cousins is coming to town. And what do we want to talk about Cousins a whole lot? I don't know. But I think the real bigger story in Atlanta has to be a chance. Does Atlanta have a chance to get the NHL for the third time? Okay, you know what? I don't know if Travis Holmes is familiar with this a little bit, but the history of hockey in Atlanta began with the Atlanta Flames, and then they brought the Atlanta Thrashers back, and now they're trying to get it for the third time. Is there anything you may or may not want to add, Travis, knowing it's a big metropolitan area? We all know that Atlanta has really grown quite a bit into more of a suburban area that like it used to be in the past. Anything you want to add to it?
So for the third time, they're trying to get this. They're trying to get a hockey franchise. That's a novel concept. Most places don't. Most places don't get a third bite at the apple. That's wild. So yeah, I don't have a lot of history with hockey outside of Olympic hockey because I played with the U.S. hockey team. But sorry, I went to school in Marquette University, so that was my second college. So I got to practice with those guys, play with those guys, but I don't know much about professional hockey, to be clear. So I have nothing to add on that one other than I'm shocked that a city would have a third chance to get a professional franchise. That's not often unless you're like LA or Oakland.
Okay, well, since we're in Atlanta, you do have knowledge about Kirk Cousins. What do you think about him going to the Falcons?
Oh man, that was a hilarious, unexpected turn of events. Just because, well, we know that offense, the offensive talent that they have in Atlanta has always been underutilized. I mean, it has been, and it's also wild how much of a legend at the bank, a legend at the bank Kirk Cousins is, and always forever will be. I mean, even coming off a serious injury, the man still gets the bag. It's always incredible. His agent is incredible. Just simply put. But now he's going to have an insane amount of skill all around him. You have a running game that just out of this world. You have multiple. Well, at least you have one good receiver in London. You have a great running game, a great O line, a solid defense, depending on how they want to run it. And that's still up in the air with losing their DC. But across the board, hopefully, I would say Cousins should be able to make them a legitimate playoff contender. Now, how many years that's going to be, that should be interesting to watch. But nevertheless, he's an obvious upgrade, and watching him with the grill is that just made that was everything to me because that's so Atlanta.
Okay, Candy, put Joshua Bernstein's comment. I like his comment, but I disagree with him big time on this. Okay. All right, Josh. Sorry, pal. Can't agree with you on everything. But I don't say that you move the Coyotes to Atlanta. I mean, how can you move them there? You got a losing franchise in a place that's lost a team twice. Let them start all over again. No, Josh, I think if the Coyotes are going to go anywhere, I say they're going to either go to Houston and create the Houston Arrows, or they're going to go to Salt Lake City. And I believe that they don't. Let me tell you, Joshua, the Coyotes don't have a stadium at 4,500 or whatever the case. They should have gone to the Arizona Memorial Coliseum. George Eichhorn will tell you that I have a history with the Coyotes, and it's not very good because I ripped them for playing at the America West Arena where the actual seats were obscured. So now, Josh, okay, Utah said that they build them one, and Houston has a stadium already. I believe that's the I don't know what they call it now, what the sponsors' name, but wherever the Rockets are playing, that's where the hockey team would play. So Houston's actually ready for the Coyotes. And the question is, does Salt Lake throw themselves in the game? And another outside shot, I put them in Kansas City where they have the Sprint Center, or depending what the name is now. So no, Josh, we don't agree on that. But Atlanta will get one. And I'm going to turn it over to Jacob Christner, and he's going to tell you the area that they're proposing it. Right, Jacob?
Alpharetta, Milton. Yep.
Right.
Anson Carter, former NHL players trying to get it over here. And this would be like 5-10 miles from me. So it'd be awesome to be able to get those tickets. It'd be great. But I personally, the one thing about it is just the fact that they're trying their hardest. But the other two times they were in an area that was never going to stand a chance. Right. If it didn't, Alpharetta, it doesn't have a pothole if it doesn't have a pothole, you couldn't find one if you tried to make one. It's like, so, they are a really, really sleek area. And it is a lot of money here. And if the hockey team doesn't make it here, it's over. It's like they were in areas before that they weren't going to stand a chance. It was like Turner Field and stuff like that the first time with the Braves. They're doing so much better over in Smyrna area, doing something
Right.
like that and that thing. That's just the way it is. It's like that area. If you don't make it in Alpharetta, this area whatsoever, it's over. So third time can be the charm, but we're going to see.
And let me add to that too. You're right. Okay. Atlanta's an area where if you move these teams to the suburbs, you'll do well. Some areas don't work well in the suburbs. Atlanta will. The Braves are living testament. And I know that if they get a team this time, we talk about Anson Carter, did you say, talking about it?
Yep.
But it will succeed this time. I believe for all of our Atlanta viewers out there that if you get a team this time, there is no doubt it will work in Alpharetta. A suburb is what I've been downtown there too. I mean, you have enough activity down there, but some teams just simply belong in the suburbs. An NHL team in Atlanta would be fine. The Braves are living proof of that. The Falcons are all right downtown, and the Hawks play there. So I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that Atlanta will do well the third time as an NHL franchise, and they smell, an opportunity to go to the suburbs. Well, George, you have a family member like your daughter that lives there. So what do you think about Atlanta as well? And George, you can even comment on the Kirk Cousins. I've talked about it a lot the last couple of shows anyway. More power to them.
Yeah.
We'll see how it all turns out, but I'm more interested in the Atlanta hockey situation.
Yeah.
So give your take on mainly the hockey, and then you can say a little Cousins.
Well, the hockey situation, yeah. I mean, my daughter loves hockey, and her husband does as well. I know they would have not season tickets, but they will go to a lot of games down there. But it is unusual to give a team, a city, a third chance. But the reason why I like this chance is because of what you said about Carter being involved, and also the fact that you have a lot of transplants from up north that live in Atlanta. I look at it as a younger city. There's a lot more mobility, and there's a lot of younger people that like hockey that live in that area. And obviously, you're going to have to grow your audience too, because you got to make sure it succeeds. But I'm with you, Scott. I don't think they should move a team from Phoenix or somewhere else to Atlanta. I think they should get an expansion team as well. But there's a lot of hockey fans in that area, so it's worth. The only exception I'd make to 3 times is this one. As far as Cousins goes, the man loves playing under a dome. He wins all the time, a lot of times, much more on the dome stadium is what I'm trying to say. So he made a perfect choice, obviously, going to Atlanta with the Georgia Dome. But he's a good guy. I mean, I followed his career at Michigan State, and unfortunately, they couldn't get him past the goal line, so to speak, a cliche at Minnesota. So I wish Kirk Cousins well. I think it's a good pickup for Atlanta for all the same reasons that our friend and colleague Travis mentioned, with that offense and the fact that he's going to be surrounded with, Bijan Robinson and good receivers, and hopefully they're setting themselves up to be a legitimate contender again in the Falcons, that being.
Well, let me go back to Joshua Bernstein. He said maybe it will work this time around. No, Joshua, it will work. And I'll tell you 2 reasons why I believe that. Number one, okay, they're going to create a natural rivalry with Nashville, which is only a few hours away. And don't forget, it's still a large television market as well. So, and being in the suburbs. So those are 3 reasons why it won't be maybe. I say it'll work this time around. But just eliminate the maybe from your sentence. But I know where you're coming from. But you can't lose sight of the fact that you can't lose the honeymoon period this time. And I like it. I just love the idea. Anything else you want to add to it, Travis?
Oh no,
just
that I forgot Atlanta signed Darnell Mooney also.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that up. I forgot to do that thing. Mooney. There's people laughing right now because I was saying Mooney's got a quarterback now. To be truthful, he's got a quarterback. And it's like his rookie year when there wasn't a DJ Moore or anybody around. He had about 4 touchdowns, 630 yards. And the next time he was 1,000 yards. But see, he was the only target. When you're not the only target anymore, and then it's only DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, and your quarterback can't look all over the place. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Kirk Cousins can. He's going to get his targets. He's going to get every. Last year, he had like 14 touches for 61 yards, something ridiculous, some goofy number. But it's not. But that's the big thing is he's got a quarterback now, and he's going to get better. I'm not saying he's going to be a 1,000-yard guy, but he's going to be a good target. I think he's going to be a good slot receiver.
Yeah.
All right, our final topic of the night, and Candy Abilene can come on in a moment. And I like the way she ends the show, so we'll let her do that, and she'll be able to get some plugs of her own. We're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Bucks. another Florida. Baker Mayfield will be staying there on a 3-year deal, $100 million max value, $115 million with incentives of $50 million guaranteed. Pretty big pay raise, okay, knowing they only made $4 million last year with the Buccaneers on a prove-it deal. So let's go ahead around the horn here. I'll just say this. I'm glad that Baker Mayfield found a home. They believe in him, and he had a tough job there going behind Tom Brady, and he did, and he got him in the playoffs with a 9-8 mark. So that's what I have to say, glad for Baker. Okay, what about you, Jacob?
Oh, yeah. What will we see? He's in Tampa, St. Pete. So we darn well know we're going to see Hulk Hogan's feed with him at the Hogan's Beach Shop with Baker Mayfield. We know we're going to start seeing that eventually. But good for him, especially when it's beautiful 24/7 over in Tampa. Gorgeous area. I mean, other than the rain. And really by itself, he's going to be a fan favorite there because he's gutsy. He plays gutsy. You know, he'll run through a wall. He will do all that, which I give him that. And he'll also drive you nuts too. But they needed somebody that's a little more solid. You know what I'm saying? Someone more consistent. Good for him. Good for everybody else. I mean, this is pretty much his final contract, so enjoy it.
All right. What about you, Travis?
I mean, it's great for him. Like, again, I'm always team secure the bag. And he did do just that. Like, for someone who's had this major ups and downs throughout his career, you know, starting off moderately hot, crashing, coming back up and fighting, you know, to basically turn over a team. You know, what was it? He went to the Rams and started without even barely knowing the guys' names, and like actually won the game, and then able to come here and actually flip this. And I know that wasn't all him, but a lot him. You know, they had Danny Canellis, the old offensive coordinator. Like that, if anything, that's my only thing that gives me pause is crap. Now he loses the OC. So now what is that going to look like under the new offensive coordinator who has, you know, a few games with them, but that's not the same as, and it's going to be a totally different offense in that way. So hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, he is able to put up, you know, similar numbers, keep the turnovers down, et cetera, et cetera. But otherwise, I mean, yeah, again, he secured the bag. Hopefully it's good things moving forward, but that is my biggest concern because Dave did a very good job last year in, you know, using the backs in the passing game, creating space in the offense, like just using his players and create, like, kind of merging the offense to their skill set. And I'm new OC, you never know how that's going to happen with a quarterback. Hopefully that works out well.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Dave Canales will probably be getting a Christmas card or two from Baker Mayfield because I'll give you 50 million reasons why you should get something from him anyways. And it doesn't hurt that he has Mike Evans back either. So that'll certainly, knowing that he has his top target. So George, go ahead.
I think it's a good move, you know, for all the right reasons. And for one things that you guys just mentioned, I'm behind it. I hope, wish him success in Tampa Bay. You're right. He had big shoes to follow, obviously. But the fact of the matter is he's still a decent quarterback and they have trust in him. And I too have trust in him that he's going to be able to do things this coming season. I mean, down in Tampa, Baker Mayfield, that is. And I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, I mean, what he did with the Rams when he practically didn't have time to read the playbook and still pulled that one out to me.
Yeah.
That wasn't a Hollywood ending if I ever saw one. But you know what? Going into Tampa following Tom Brady with a winning season, to me, was very, very impressive. And I'll tell you one thing. I know the Tampa Bay area well. I graduated from USF there. You know what? To me, Tampa Bay, resembles a Midwest city because they really are one of the finer sports towns there, and they're very loyal to their teams, especially if you put forth a good effort. I can honestly tell you that I'm proud to be and have roots from the Tampa Bay area. I really love that area. My heart is there with USF. I live in South Florida. I love being here. And, of course, I'm proud to be a Metro Detroiter, and along with my other stops in Phoenix as well and North Carolina. So, all right, Candy, you want to add to this? Because I'll let you add to this, and then you can go ahead and take us home the rest of the way. My voice is probably just about out of it.
It's great for Baker Mayfield, and let's face it, who else was Tampa Bay going to go out and get? Who would they want? What other quarterback is out there? Baker Mayfield, while he might not be my favorite, he is not an elite quarterback, but he obviously can get the job done because that's what he's proven himself. One of the keys, I think, is the fact that he does have both of his top receivers back. Now, will his offensive line be back and be able to really protect him? Because let's face it, in this league, a quarterback is only as good as his offensive line. If you have a crappy offensive line, unless you are an elite quarterback, you are not, having a lot of success. So that's going to be one of the things but who wouldn't take 50 million guaranteed over the next 2 years? I mean, it's $100 million contract. Like, he'd be stupid not to. Get your money while you can. I mean, I'll never make $100 million. Let's face it.
Are you sure?
You betcha.
Oh, well, you build websites. I would put my money on you than a lot of other people out there when you build websites.
But no, in all seriously, and part of the other thing I think it really helps, and this is where it might hurt him, is the fact that, like Travis came out and said, the offensive coordinator isn't there anymore. There is something to be said about a consistent coaching staff and being coached by the same people. Always changing offensive coordinators, quarterback coaches, whatever it is, means inconsistency a lot. Because let's face it, look what happened to Matthew Stafford up in Detroit. A lot of people would say he was a good quarterback, but he had so many changes that he never got to gel with everybody, and it just didn't work out. So I think a lot of it has to do with the chemistry of the players you're playing with and the chemistry of the coaches you have, and how quickly, if your coaches change or the players around you change, how quickly you can build that chemistry.
Well, let me tell you this, Candy. Matthew Stafford had it tough, but Joey Harrington had it way worse. But continue on.
No, I get it, but like I said, let's face it. I'm a Green Bay Packer girl, so the beginning of the season, Jordan Love, kind of a rookie thrown into his first year really starting, and he was not gelling with his wide receivers. But as the season progressed, the chemistry between him and his receivers and the offensive line and the coaching gelled, because you could see he was getting better and better as the season goes on. So I just think it has a lot to do with the chemistry you have with your coaches and with the players. And if Baker can get it done, more power to him.
Well done, Candy.
Very
That's
nice.
why everybody loves you. Mel says you can take my job. My brother says you can have my job. And you know what? I have no problem. If Candy was ever the heir apparent to me on this show, I feel like, you know what, she would do an unbelievable job, and I have no problem with that. Anytime you can find success anywhere, and I would never want her to be like me any more or less than I'd want my niece Emily Olsen never drive like me or drive with me, because these people are way smarter. And then again, the Olsens, Denise and Tracy, they're way smart. They wouldn't put Emily in the same car with me anyhow. But that's beside the point. It's a family joke anyways. So everybody's had a chance to voice their opinion on this. Everybody, all hands are there, right?
Everything good.
All right, okay. Sorry, Candy, take it home.
Okay, if you see that little red subscribe button in the lower right corner, that means you have not subscribed to our channel. And my question is, why haven't you already? Do it now. Do it now. We have awesome programming on our station. If you like 108 Stages baseball talk, so you want to talk baseball, come see us on Monday nights. If you like NFL or college football, we have Inside the Pigskin Tuesday nights. Wednesday nights is Sports Exchange. You never know what we're going to be talking about. Anything from NFL to cornhole to NFL to obviously March Madness and anything in between. Come 9 o'clock Wednesdays. Thursdays are typically Pundit. Sometimes it's on that day. Sometimes we move it around a little bit. But we also have what's called Fire Up. And that's where I lead the show. And Scott does let me lead. And me and Jeremy, and then George joins us, as well as Ralph, and we talk about just about anything as well. But we also have what's called My Town on in a segment on that show, and that's where we each talk about something that's happening in either the town we grew up in or the town we live in now. You got to catch our programming. We have Motor City Mad Mouse Show where Scott interviews people. We have No Limits. We have Fire Up Wisconsin, Fire Up Michigan, Fire Up Florida. I mean, we have a plethora of shows. But the other thing we have is we have great contributors, and a lot of them have their own shows. And we would like you to subscribe to their shows as well and listen and support them, because they're supporting us. We want to support them right back. So please do so. But also go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where you can read George writes, Jacob writes, Scott writes. I got to get Travis to write for me yet. I'll have to work on that one. And I take pictures. Go to our website, see all that. If you want to get the latest on the Jags, the Dolphins, the Lions, they all send us their transcripts for their coaches and all that good stuff. So go to our website. If you'd like to listen to audio version of broadcasts, we do that too. So you can go to iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, or wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise or sponsor us, call Scott. 954-304-4941. I'm trying to think anything else you can. Oh, most importantly, how can I forget? On the screen right now is a book cover. That would be the book that Scott wrote, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. Talks about him and his media trials and tribulations and his time over the last 40 years. Old school media versus new school media. You gotta get it. He's got a picture of him and Muhammad Ali when he was really young. You gotta get the book and see it. I can't make this stuff up.
When Ali was really young, or Scott?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Both.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, Christner. I don't have a voice to tell you. Are you crazy again? I used that line earlier, and I strained it, and it's hoarse because of you. I turned gray and hoarse because of you all the time, Christner.
I got gray without you.
Yeah, well, I'm no comment on where my gray hair came. I don't want to get some criticism from above.
Yeah.
My dad always used to joke because my dad says he went gray because of me, and then because of my younger siblings, he lost his hair and went bald. So that's kind of funny.
That's a good line.
Because of the baseball hats that I wear.
But I think that's about it. I think we should introduce or let everybody tell them how they can get a hold of them. So does that sound right?
You're right about that, Candy. Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. George Eichhorn, you have been around with Scott on the Sports Exchange for how many years now?
I don't know, 43, 4, or 5. Take your pick.
Wow. So how can everybody get a hold of you?
Well, you get a hold of me at gicorn@yahoo.com. You can find my writings on the Motor City Tribune side of the South Florida Tribune. And at the end of the column, there's a link there in case you're interested in the book I wrote many years ago. Scott's in the book, and it's Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. And you can find me on 108 Stitches. You can find me on Sports Exchange, Fire Up, Punt is Punt It, wherever Scott and Candy need me, I'm ready and able. So good being with you all tonight.
Definitely.
Mr. Travis, I love bacon. How can people get a hold of you?
You can catch me on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes. You can find my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars on BigCatCountry.com. The Jacksonville Jaguars, SB Nation fan site. You can also find me on my podcast on every Friday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you get your podcasts. Is the Duval Diva Jaguars podcast, and you can find me here inside the Pigskin on Tuesdays or the Sports Exchange on Wednesdays, whenever you want to have me.
Awesome.
You're great at both of them, boy. You make my life difficult sometimes in a good way. I don't know where to put you, but I know you're great, and I can't go wrong with either show.
Appreciate you, Scott.
Don't worry. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know it.
And then Mr. Pundit himself. How can we get a hold of you?
And definitely, Travis will be seeing you with bacon no matter where you're at. But one of the things, I'm Jake the Pundit on Twitter, Jake the Pundit 1 on TikTok, Jake the Pundit in a lot of different places. I'm also on South Florida Tribune. I am on Sideline Sports and Inscriber Magazine, and then 5 shows a week. Well, sometimes 5, mostly 4.
Yeah, I feel bad for all the amount of double headers that Christopher had. Please, if I were his age, I'd worry about it. If I were mine, I'd worry about it. And you know what? I do have a little thing to say for Christopher still. Are you crazy? I love saying that to this guy.
It's to get off the weed.
There you go. That's all right. You're lucky that my voice doesn't have much left in it, but that's all right. Good stuff. Great show tonight. I think we had a lot. We had so many great things tonight. And JB Ellis reporting from Madison Square Garden was a great thing. And we're going to be doing a lot more of those reports too. I remember years ago when I worked with George, I did a live report. One of my first ones was from the Linda Carter Maybelline tennis tournament here. Actually, a tennis thing, Candy, out in Deerfield Beach, Florida, over at Deer Creek Country Club. So, we like to have live people doing remotes, and we're going to be doing so many different things as well as time goes on. So, all right, with that said, anybody have any final words before we call it a night?
All good.
Nope, all good.
All right, well, on
Enjoy
behalf
March
of
Madness.
yeah,
and a merry free agency to everyone.
yeah, there you
Yes.
go. Well, go FAU Owls, go USF Bulls. Okay. All right. So on behalf of Travis Holmes, George Eichhorn, Candy Ebling, and Jacob Christner, along with JB Ellis, my name is Scott Morgan, Roth, the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange. A special shout out to Joshua Bernstein, Denzel Snipes, Jesse Stuber for also participating in the chat room. We love having these people there. The one thing about these people is they bring a lot of energy in the room, and we really like to be able to address all their comments as often as we can. And the best part about their comments is they're really good. These aren't stiffs. These are great people that are passionate about their sports and their subject. Good night, everybody, and we will see you next week.